fast because I messed up. But we're live. Yay.
But we're live.
But
The
we're
world
live.
can hear us.
The world can hear us.
Well, they can hear me. They can hear you.
They
Hello,
can-
world.
They can hear Ken
Yep.
and Pam's back there somewhere.
I'm back here. Just
Okay.
being quiet.
We can hear her too.
Well, happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm glad you can join us tonight. Have some fun with us, and we're going to talk about a little bit about Missouri today. We had a guest, and we'll let Ken talk about that because, well, actually, it's Ken's show.
It's Ken's
Because
show.
It's Missouri. It's a Missouri
It's
week.
Missouri.
Why is Arkansas talking?
I don't know.
I don't know, but it's
Why
all
are you?
about Mo. It's all about Mo again.
Mo.
Anyway, thanks
Ken.
Hey guys, thanks everybody for joining in. And as Adrian just mentioned, I had a speaker or a guest that we were going to chat with tonight. She wrote a book about the hauntings of the Lemp Mansion, but she is currently working on another major book, and she got quite busy today and had to postpone tonight's visit with us. So we're going to go ahead and talk about the Lemp Mansion. Oh, did I just spill the beans? We're going to talk.
Well, I think we said put that on the thing. Said we're going to talk about the Lemp Mansion. So no beans spilling.
No beans spilled. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and talk about the Lemp Mansion. And I thought, what's the best way to kind of begin this chat? Most people know the story, but there's a lot of people out there that don't really know what kind of went on regarding the Lemp Mansion, which is located in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, who are the Lemps?
The Lemps are a beer baron family. The first Adam Lemp was the first one of the first people to actually brew lager beer, which is a bottom fermenting beer.
Wow.
Back in 18, I believe 36, 38, somewhere in that time frame. So this is about the beer dynasty, which I'm abbreviating one of my talks, which I call Booze and Booze.
Boo.
Awesome.
I was expecting that. But I do give that talk every year around Halloween time through the St. Louis County Library System. And I've been giving it for 5 years and everybody still wants to hear it. So I also added a second section or a second version of it. And that one is more about the Lemp family. So I'm going to kind of merge a little bit tonight, but I'm not going to talk about all the family members, but I will go back and give you a little bit of history about the Lemp family and what they stood for. They were, I guess, the billionaires. Now you'd call them billionaires or trillionaires of the mid and late 1800s into the probably until about 1922 when everything ended abruptly.
What kind of talk about their beer? What kind of beer?
It's the old Falstaff.
This is important, huh?
This is important.
It's the old Falstaff.
Oh,
so it's not
the
like
Falstaff. They
Coors.
called it.
Not Coors.
Of course not. Of
course not.
Coors.
No, I talk about him too in one of my other lectures. He's part of the Booze and Booze, the beer barons, because they were all friends. Well, except for him. He was an odd character. But anyway, we're not going to go into that tonight. But Adam Lemp came from Germany, and he brought with him a new beer process. He started the brewery, like I said, back around about 1836, 38-ish. And his first brewery was actually where the south leg is of the arch is now. That used to be 2nd Street back in the day, and that's where his first brewery was. Basically a back room basement type brewery, and he made a little bit until he decided to, a few years later, quite a few number of years later, they moved it to I'll say the present day location, which is down Cherokee Street and Broadway, Lemp Avenue, and it was built over a cave called the Cherokee Cave, which had its own reasons for doing that. And mostly it was because it was constant temperature and they were able to brew beers and keep it cold for a long time before it was transported. Well, anyway, Adam and Justina Baum, that was his wife, they had 2 sons. The first one actually died at the age of 4. And it's a weird combination of family traditions, German family traditions, that if a son, the oldest son, died before a certain age, the second son actually assumed his name. So thus, at the age of 2, William Jacob Lemp Sr. Came about. Of course, he wasn't a senior at that point, but when he got married, he was. Later on, I forget, maybe 1860s, I guess, William Lemp Sr. married Julia Fikert. And her father actually built the Lemp Mansion in 1868. You'll see some pictures of this in a little bit, but in 1868, and then sold it to his daughter and son-in-law in 1876. Thus, that is the Lemp Mansion. That couple had 8 kids. There was Anna, William Jr., Louis, Charles, Frederick, Hilda, Edwin, and Elsa. And the interesting thing is that Edwin, the first 6 were not born in the mansion, but Edwin and Elsa were. They were the only ones born in the mansion itself. Later on, William Jr., a lot of people call him Billy, he actually married Lillian Hanlon, who many people might know her as the Lavender Lady. Everything she owned was your color, shop. There you go. The lavender color, and her horses and everything else. She would dye the manes and everything that went on the horses. She was a lavender color. Well,
Nice.
yeah, see, it's pretty awesome there.
The color,
Yeah.
not the smell, right?
I
I
don't.
don't like the lavender smell.
Yeah.
How many times have you gone to a place that you're investigating, and you know how aromas will pop up?
Yeah.
And with my team, always.
Well, it depends on if you have tacos for dinner or not,
Well,
right?
it
Or
depends on
chili.
what we have. We've coined our group Gastrointestinal Paranormal, and for many reasons.
Gastrointestinal
And my team watching
Paranormal.
this,
So-
they totally agree.
Oh my
So-
god.
so-
Anyhow,
So
sorry.
good old Jip, huh? There you go. Well, the one son, Frederick, also died. He did not die of suicide. He died from a heart attack in 1901 out in California. Really upset his father a whole lot, along with William J. Lemp Sr.'s best friend, also died in 1904. Well, February 13th, which I think is coming up next Monday, I believe, in 1904, William J. Lemp Sr. committed suicide in the mansion. And that was up on the 2nd floor in what is now known as the Lavender Suite. The next death, suicide, potentially murder in the family, was Elsa Lemp. She actually died in March of 1920 over in the Central West End in a place called, the address was 13 Hortense. I say suicide murder because it's still up in the air which way it really was. In my mind, everything that I've read and heard about the story, to me, everything leads to that she was potentially murdered by her husband, but that has never been proven.
Wow.
You got to say
and
that with a little more.
It has never been
Good.
proven.
Has never been proven.
Is that better? Or-
I think
Yeah.
it was murder.
Murder.
Got it. Okay, I'll do that one.
So wait a minute. So Elsa
I'll do that
did-
in the next one. Okay, go ahead.
So how many suicides at the house?
At the house, there were 3.
3. And these were all
Wow.
rich people. In a
And
big
all-
house.
Rich people.
All the Lemp family.
Well, Yeah, they were all, yes. There were four suicides total.
Wow.
I say there was one true suicide, and I think that was senior.
And the other ones were possibly murder.
One was possibly murder.
Okay.
Okay. And the other ones were probably, I think they were assisted suicides.
Okay.
So realistically, murder.
Murder.
Not a penis. Silent murder.
Oh my God, you corrupted me.
Okay,
Oh my gosh.
myself.
So let's see, we got Elsa, that was 1901. The next fun suicide
Fun
was
suicide. Did you
Fun
just-
suicide. He
Sure,
just
it's
said
a
fun
fun
suicide.
fun suicide.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it was a sad suicide. But anyway, in 1919, what happened in 1919? History buffs.
My parents'
before my
war.
Crash.
The Great Depression.
Close.
Crash.
I don't know.
Close. That's after that.
It was.
No, I don't know.
Wasn't quite
Remember,
the early 20s.
we're
19,
talking.
well, no,
We're talking
1918 was Spanish
about.
flu, right?
We're talking about
TB. Beer. Oh,
Think-
beer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Think beer.
Oh, beer.
Think beer.
Oh, come on, Adrian.
Oh, prohibition.
Prohibition.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
The first thing I know about beer was in
Prohibition.
the early 80s, and I found out that I thought Lowenbrow was the classiest thing in the world.
Wow.
No, it was
Right.
Mickey's Wide Mouth. Come on.
Mickey's isn't.
In the early
no,
80s?
No, Lowenbrow, man. Remember it had the silver foil top?
I just know that
on it?
Yingling is my favorite beer, and I still have not
Yingling?
been able to get it yet here.
What?
I'm sad.
What's it called?
1970s.
Yingling.
Coors.
No, what
Yingling.
happened in
Huh,
Yingling.
never heard of
1990?
that.
Tidrian knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
So
It's a good beer.
1919. Don't tell anybody, but that was the year Prohibition started.
Oh, I
Oh,
knew
yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's one of those big words.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of
Anyway,
history in 1919, y'all.
That is true.
Ugh.
That is true. Baseball history, right? But anyway, Prohibition. What did Billy Lemp do? He was the CEO, president, in charge, owned, whatever you want to say, the brewery, and he decided that I give up. He locked the doors. He just locked the doors of the brewery.
Shame.
Wow.
The next year, year and a half later, in 1921, he's still depressed and all that, and can't make any money anymore because the brewery's closed. He ends up selling the Falstaff recipe to his best friend, Papa Joe Greasedick. So the Greasedick brothers. And that was basically one of his
I just
best
went
friends.
12.
You did. I saw it. I saw it happen.
I felt it. He sold it for $25,000. And I'm like, wow. Okay. And then in 1922, he ended up auctioning off the brewery, and one bidder. And that bidder was International Shoe Company. And they made their bid of $588,000, and the building was actually the complex was actually worth about 10 times that amount.
Wow.
Got $588,000. Well, of course, a little depressed. And in December 29th, 1922, Billy Lemp Jr. committed suicide in the mansion. He committed suicide in the mansion office, which is just inside the building to the left, first floor. Charles Lemp, his younger brother, moved into the mansion probably soon afterwards, and he lived there until 1949. He was very sickly, and he committed suicide on May 10th of 1949.
And was this a trend?
Man.
I think what I'm thinking is that there was probably some I don't know what you would call it, just depression in the family, and
Probably.
some other disorders, but some of it
You're
was
thinking-
sickly.
You're talking clinical depression.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like-
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. not depression because of the prohibition, but yes.
Yeah, no, clinical depression. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're medical.
Well, kind of.
We'll see. We're not. So anyway, that was the last Lemp to ever live in the mansion itself, and that was up until 1949. And then after that, it was a boarding house. So tons of people lived there for the next
I bet.
20,
I'm sorry.
25 years or so. And then I think in 1975, the current owners, the Pointer family, they ended up buying it, and now it's a bed and breakfast, and the place is definitely haunted. I have investigated there, I would say maybe 50 to 75, 80 times.
Wow, you like
over
that
the
place?
I think so, yeah, over the past 12, 13 years, and constantly doing research, and stayed there at least a dozen times now. And a couple of us actually host overnights there occasionally when we can get groups of 12 people together. So,
We
so yeah, so it's a lot.
I have a question. It's not necessarily Lemp specific, more paranormal wide, but I love asking people who've routinely gone to a place several times. Like I have the hospital that I always bring up that we can't talk about. Do you find that any certain season is the best to hunt at the Lemp or anywhere?
Not really. I think for me, there's always something going on no matter where I go. Possibly. I do know that a lot of the activity, for example, here at the Lemp that I've noticed usually happens, a lot of it happens between 2 a.m. and about 6 a.m.
Oh no.
So, and it's not the bewitching hours, but
no,
it's
at 2 a.m. I want to be asleep.
I have been
I'm
awake. I have been awake all night many times, and got home at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. The next, Monday afternoon, I'm like, I'm wiped.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, some places I would think yes. Some places might be more active actually during the day.
Yeah.
Because that's when people were awake.
Well,
they weren't sleeping like you.
You can investigate at any time. We investigate at night so we can actually see the shadows, which doesn't make any sense until you know what we're talking about, right?
Correct.
But
because
I've noticed that spring and fall in these haunted locations that I've gone to seem to be more active, and I just didn't know if that was the same at Lemp. But since
I don't think so.
You're saying I'm a dumbhead.
No,
you're just you're inexperienced with the Lemp.
With the Lemp.
With the Lemp.
Okay,
with the Lemp.
I boy, you jumped to some conclusions there. I could read. That was broadcast all over the screen.
Back to your regularly scheduled programming. No, I just thought that when you said you'd been there that many times, I didn't know you'd been there that many times. But yeah, you can pretty much consider yourself almost, an expert.
An expert.
We said we couldn't do that. Remember? and there's several things we're not supposed to do. Anyway, no, but I'm knowledgeable of it. I've done a lot of research over the years, and do I remember it all? No, things kind of come back and to me as we're kind of talking different things, and that's why I have a cheat sheet when I give my talks. Absolutely, it's like, okay, what was this all about? Oh yeah. Anyway, but no, I've had experiences there pretty much year round, because I mean, I've been there just so many different times of the year. I've actually been there on a couple of the like I've been there on 12/29, December 29th, and that's the anniversary of one of the deaths. That was Junior's death. I've been there April 10th before, when Charles' anniversary of his death. I take that back. I haven't, not that one, but on 2/13, I've actually been there for William Sr.'s kind of anniversary of his death. Not that it's a fun anniversary, I'm not using that word this time, but that was really, to me, it was kind of a letdown, and maybe it was because I was expecting too much.
Yeah.
I was
So,
expecting, oh, it's going to be,
so
it's
it
going to
wasn't
be.
that busy at all during those times.
No, not really.
Were
I have
you there at
actually,
3 or 4 a.m.?
yeah, I was there all night.
Oh,
Yeah.
I want
Wow.
to
Yeah,
sleep at 4.
What a
we were
letdown.
leading a group. We were teaching them how to ghost hunt and giving them some experiences and chatting with the spirits. So we've had some interesting ones. I do know that there's a little story here about Charles Lemp. When Charles Lemp committed suicide, he's the last one. He was the only one to leave a suicide note, and he said, "If I'm found dead, blame no one but me."
Oh,
There was another one
Are you
that
no
sure
one
he
trusts those
wrote
kind of notes.
that?
Yeah, that's a strange
That's a little
note to
sus.
leave.
That automatically
That's a
makes that
little
sketchy.
sus.
Ugh.
Yeah.
my understanding is they had a handwriting analyst look it over, and it was
So there you go.
actually his.
Well, could
Uh,
somebody have put a gun to his head and make him write it?
Well, I still think that it wasn't a suicide. That's one that I
Murder.
truly, but no, not a murder. I think that was an assisted suicide
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
That's
because,
still considered murder in most states, but
well, correct, no, correct, but it was the coroner said one thing, the police said the other thing, and the one that said it was a suicide won,
Ah.
and that's the official ruling. So, but I do ask that question to them a lot. Had some interesting results one time, which is, I think, actually doing an investigation in Charles' room and in the room he committed suicide and in the one Billy Lemp committed suicide in the office. That is kind of leading me to believe that they were assisted suicides. But the evidence I have is really faint, and it's really hard to hear it. So it's just a personal hunch, but no proof.
And that's
No
all they
proof on that.
have is
now the Limp
what you
Mansion has
found.
been in several shows, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been in a lot.
Yeah, it's been
A lot of shows.
on
There's a
all the
lot
big
of
all the
books,
big ones, right?
a
And
lot
then
of big ones, a lot of books written about it, and
yeah,
a lot of crazy stories that I look at those and go, really? Did you even look at any of the evidence, the actual physical evidence of that time frame? I'm like, okay, I pick the best and the things that make the most sense and just ignore the fluff and
yeah.
whatever else that might be out there. But I will say that the guest I had planned to bring tonight, and she said that we're just postponing it. She just couldn't do it tonight. We'll get her on the show at some point in the future, and because I'd like to get for her to give her perspective on the Lemp Mansion, because she has investigated there a few times. She is an author located out in Colorado. Her name, I've already mentioned that before, it's Rebecca Pittman. She has a very good book. I have read it. It's it's probably about an inch and a half thick, a lot of pages, at least 500-600 pages, but it's a
Are there
lot
any
of
pictures? I need pictures.
Huh.
I have some pictures I can show here in a few minutes. Okay.
No, I've seen in
So
the
you
book.
need,
It's 500 pages.
do you need
of just
you
words?
need big pictures and big words, right?
I need.
Oh,
Large
just
print.
words?
Lots of
Large
Oh my
pictures and
God.
words.
I know you talk about. I mean, books. God, it's a lot of reading when you have a book.
Well, you can use it as a coloring book.
Boo.
Yeah, I'm using a book over here.
I
that
won't
has a culture
tell
for
Rebecca
my
that.
drink.
She's probably watching, so I'm
The
not going to tell her.
librarian is closing her ears.
Oh, that's what I thought too.
Mm.
I have two daughters who are
Oh.
librarians. Yeah, I know what you mean, and two that are teachers. So yeah, but regarding Charles, not only did he commit suicide, but before he shot himself, according to the reports, he also shot his dog because he didn't want
Oh.
his dog to be left alone, because he was the last one.
Oh.
And they were, oh, I'm sorry, God.
The poor puppers.
Don't care about Charles, but the dog.
Right?
The poor
but
dog.
they were both quite old and quite decrepit. So he didn't want anybody to, he didn't want his dog to be left alone. So anyway, I am telling this story. I used to give tours there for about 3 years. That's why I was there so often. Ghost tours with another group. And I'm giving a tour to about, I don't know, let's say 12 or so people. They're all standing in front of me. I'm standing in the hallway. I've got the Lavender Suite on my left and the William Lemp Suite on my right. I'm by the windows, and I'm like, here's the story. Supposedly over here, so-and-so committed suicide, William Lemp Sr. Over here, this is where the dog was shot by William, by Charles Lemp. And just as I pointed to the right, to that room, this ferocious growl happened right behind me. And
Oh.
there's only 3 feet between me and the window. And I'm like, I jump, turn, what the hell was that? And I'm looking around for, I'm looking for a speaker, I'm looking for something, but it was a ferocious growl. And I
I
turned
get
back
that behind me
around.
sometimes too.
I turned back around to look at the people that were standing there, and their eyes were probably about that big each, bright white lights. And I'm like, did you guys hear that? Do you want to? And they ran like bugs.
That's it. That don't make any sense. I'm here for a paranormal experience. Things
Right.
happen. You're like, oh, I gotta go.
Yeah.
But
I'll be like, yeah, I want to go.
Yeah, it startled them, and they're like, they just took off. They went to the other side of the building. And I'm like, okay, this was on a tour we're given.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty amazing. I have slept in chairs there several times overnight. Little cat naps. You get an hour here maybe, and maybe you get total of 2 hours maybe while you're there. And I'm sitting on the first floor one night, and on the first floor by the stairwell, just to my left is the room where Charles committed suicide, and to my right, 2 rooms down, was the office where Billy committed suicide. This was wintertime, about 4:00 in the morning. I hear this loud bang, like a door slamming, and it startled me. I got up, and I'm like, I'm looking around. It's pitch black in there, so I got my flashlight and looking around. I'm like, what the hell door just slammed? I couldn't figure it out, because I walked around the entire first floor looking for a door. There are no doors in that first floor except for 2. Both of them are the bathroom doors, and both of them squeak, and they do not slam. So it wasn't until about 2 years later, we're sitting in that one room, and I actually heard that slam again. So I'm like, I got to figure this out. I finally went into the men's bathroom, and there's a wooden door in there with a little spring on it, and on the where the commode is. And if you open the door and just let her just let it rip and close it, it's the sound of somebody slamming that wooden door. So now,
Nice.
I heard that slam. That was number 1. I'm like, I still can't figure it out. So I'm like, what the heck, whatever. So I lean back. And, it could be, probably. Oh, I've got stories about that too. But anyway, not there, but elsewhere. But anyway,
we'll have a special show on Ghost Poop. So
there you go. That sounds good. Haunted bathrooms. But I'm still sitting there, and I sit back down, and I tilt my head back, and I must have fallen asleep for like 15 minutes. I'm startled awake again by a gunshot. And I'm like, oh my God, we're under attack. And I'm looking around. Of course, it's still dark. I can't see anything. So I get the flashlight. It had come from my left, where Charles Lemp committed suicide. And I'm like, ooh, that is really creepy. That's kind of weird. And I sat back down, fell asleep for about 15 more minutes. I'm awakened again by another gunshot, this time to my right. And I'm like, I look over there, and when I startle, I look over there and I'm thinking, that one came from the office where William Jr. committed suicide.
Wow.
And then I couldn't get back to sleep after that. So I just got up and started wandering around doing investigations again.
See,
So
the skeptic in me comes at you here. Now, the skeptic
Yeah.
go for
you're
it.
sleeping. So, are you dreaming because you're in the area, or you say you're kind of woo woo? So, are you think your woo woo ness is? Why does that make you laugh, Shauna?
No,
I was-
you.
I'm
Woo-woo.
gonna do the same thing in a minute, Shaw. It's okay.
When you're kind of woo woo, you think you were just tuning. You think you're tuning into that because of the area that you were in, and because you were in such a relaxed state.
Both.
So
It's
just
woo woo.
yeah, it's a woo woo moment. So, why does that make you laugh? I get it. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, we just got done talking about bathrooms, so now we're talking about woo woo.
No, that's wee wee. That's totally different.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's my 12-year-old me coming out. I don't know.
I'm glad I'm making your night here. It's great. But
No, I just wondered because-
but I do agree with you. I mean, it could have been.
Yeah,
And I did have a recorder going, but I cannot find that recording.
So there's things-
So I can't
find
prove
the
it.
You had a recording of the gunshot?
I had a recorder going
Oh, okay.
the entire hour, but I don't even know where that recording is anymore, and if it even captured those gunshots.
Yeah.
I'm hoping someday I'll find it in my in my library.
Backlog.
Yeah, my audio library. Yeah.
oh
Of what?
God, I got
Probably about
so much
800.
audio library.
And so, but
you know how far backlogged I am listening to my audio?
About 3 years.
All right, I'm gonna put it up on Patreon.
2 hours and 20 minutes I have to listen to, and then I'm totally caught up.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put it all up on Patreon. Be like, oh hey, anybody that wants to donate.
No, I still gotta listen. I gotta listen to the one we just did.
Okay, Ken. So, Karen on YouTube, she's asking, that's kind of a rough neighborhood. Could the shots have come from outside?
No, those did not. They were actually inside the building that they came from.
Too loud.
And that area is not really that rough. Although we were there one night, all of us were awake, and we were in the basement investigating, and we did hear 6 gunshots.
Oh yeah, that's not rough at all.
But
No!
but we found out later on that there was a drive-by shooting on the highway right there in front of Anheuser-Busch, which is across the
it is
highway.
really close to the highway, isn't it?
It's right across, yeah, and it's so we heard there was that, and we're like, what? We couldn't figure out what it was because no, the neighborhood is okay. It's I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you can walk. I mean, sometimes we'll go outside and walk the
Is
neighborhood.
it still there by the arch? I've never been there.
No, this is about. You can see a little tiny arch about that big from the parking lot. It's about that big if you squint your eyes, and but the arch is probably 4 miles, 5 miles up the road, maybe 3, whatever. But it's right across. If you know where Anheuser-Busch is on 55,
I do.
and Arsenal.
Yeah.
If you look across the street to the southwest, you'll see the Lemp Mansion from there. They were all they were
if
a
I'm
mile
traveling
away.
on the freeway down there, I'm not looking anything but going, oh my God, that could stomach at me. Oh my God, where am I supposed to go? Where's the off ramp? Where am I going? I'm totally lost.
No, he's going
Because
woo woo. We're gonna go
Okay,
see the
we know who's
woo-woo.
not driving
because my
we ever
GPS is
caravan
already
somewhere
freaked
together.
out and I'm done with St. Louis.
If you ever decided to drive really slow on the highway and just ignore everybody else, you might see it. If you look here, you'll see Anheuser-Busch. If you look over here,
go.
right across the street, it just about a mile down is the Lemp Mansion, and another block down is actually the brewery. You can see the old Lemp Brewery, and it's got on the.
So can we go like early so we can go to the brewery?
Sure.
You got to do that. You can't do that before you investigate that.
Okay,
They-
well, it's gonna be closed afterwards.
They give you two. They give you two samples too over at the brewery.
Yay.
Ooh.
It's a really neat tour, and I already
Can investigate the brewery.
I say I would love to investigate, but they won't let you. Anheuser-Busch, they will not let you.
Why?
But just because they won't.
But
It's like
it'll
they-
bring
Because
them
they know
some
it's full of
more.
spirits.
Yeah, did you ever
Because-
go up there and go, but
Probably
I
a
really,
working-
really want to?
I have I have bagged on paper. Yeah.
No, you don't drink before you go on investigations, but you can have a little. It's not gonna make you buzzy.
What we do is we go to investigation on a Sunday. We go over to the brewery and do the tour. We come back. We eat the pan-fried chicken family dinner on Sunday night before
Is
the
that it?
investigation at the mansion.
Oh yeah.
And then it's awesome. All you can
Hey.
eat. And then after that, we do our investigation. You stay all night. It's a bed and breakfast.
And you
So-
say you only need
Hey,
12, right?
real bathrooms, real showers, real beds. Yeah.
I think
So
we
you're
got
saying-
12
so you're-
with just all of ours and our crew.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah,
saying
well-
we're gonna have
well-
we have to have an AMOK moment.
We'll work on something. And then we can even do a live from there too.
That would be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
So
That
what
would be really cool.
What's your favorite area there?
Every room I have experienced something in. Probably though the most I've experienced stuff in would be the Lewis room up on the 3rd floor. It's in the back of the building. I'm sorry, it's in the front of the building. But I have captured some really interesting things up there. I've experienced the spirit that haunts up there. Everybody has named him Zeke. He has said his name over the spirit box several times over the past few years. He's a cool kid. He's probably a teenager. People think that he had Down syndrome. So we're kind of thinking that maybe he was a resident during the boarding house days. So back in between the 50s and the 70s. And I know my cousin lives in that area, and she went to the school across the highway from there, St. Agatha's Church and school, and they lived about 3 or 4 blocks away from the mansion, and they passed the mansion every morning. They'd be walking down the street on that side. As soon as they'd get basically to the fence, they would cross the street because they didn't want to walk in front of it. They were scared of it. They would walk down to the park and then cut across the park to go to school. But she does remember seeing actually a boy that kind of looked a little off, and he would be in the 3rd floor with the window open and throwing candy out to kids and trying to get them to talk to him, because that's how lonely he was. I'm like, it's a sad story. But she said, so that's why I think that was really maybe a young man that actually lived there at some point. And the rumor is that he fell down from the 3rd floor, fell all the way down to the basement, which is 4.5 floors down, and broke his neck. There's no records of it. There's no records anywhere.
I'm failing my Booth Brothers thing, because Children of the Grave 2 had a segment on they were there at the Limp Mansion, and they had an encounter on Thermal with somebody, and I think that's who you're talking about, Zeke.
Yeah, they called him something else, the derogatory name.
Well,
began with the chimpanzee name. Yeah.
And I don't remember. I don't
well, go ahead. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But that's.
But I remember that the sequence of events on the Children of Grave 2 made me want to go to the Limp Mansion, but I've been so busy over the years, haven't been able to do it. So I'm looking forward to it, and I will get there someday. I know we're talking about it for later on in the year.
Yeah.
And who knows?
Oh, well, that's something pretty cool. Let me I've got a few photos because I know we're starting to run out of time, right? But I've got a couple photos that I could show you if we can figure out how to get them up there again.
Remember, you gotta go to the share.
Yeah, but I can't even find my options.
Uh-oh.
Gotta go down to the bottom.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking for my mouse. My mouse.
Oh.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's share. Okay, I'm going to do share. And I think it's this one, I believe.
We're going to find out.
How about that?
Hey.
Oh, it's at
End of slideshow.
It's at the end. Great. So now I got to go backwards. How's that going to work?
That's when you when it says end of the slideshow, when you're supposed to say questions. Anybody?
I actually took that slide out because it does say questions with a question mark. Why
you
can't
go to, let's see.
From this screen, I don't think I can.
You can refresh it. Well, at the top.
There
Yeah.
you go.
No, it's okay. Hold on. I can't get rid of
Nobody
this.
look. Nobody look.
Oh, okay. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. We're getting close. We're getting close. Okay. Now that the slideshow is over, what'd you guys think of it? Okay.
That was pretty quick. Huh?
It was absolutely. So I just wanted to kind of give you a few photos of. Oh my God! I just watched it on YouTube. It was crazy.
We're watching YouTube. You're on the show.
It's going. It's sitting next to me. I'm like, what is all that flashing? It's me going. The picture's going backwards. Okay, here's Adam Lemp, a picture of him. This is what he looked like back in the 1860s. He was the father of this whole beer baron ship.
Is that Johann or Johann?
Johann.
True
Joyman. Deutschlander. This is what the brewery looked like back around 1850s, and this was actually right above the Cherokee caves that they were using. And it's going to be just a brief run through of some things here. Here's a picture of William Lemp Sr. He's the one that died in 1904. Suicide. I'm only going to show you the ones that died. Sorry. A little morbid here. Frederick Lemp, who was the heir apparent of the whole shebang, but he died of heart attack in 1901. Kind of put his dad in a little bit of a tizzy.
Oh,
a huge tizzy, because the picture right before that was his dad, who committed suicide in 1904. So I got this a little out of order.
Oh, wow.
But next one here, Elsa Lemp, which I don't know if I've mentioned her. Yes, I did. She's the one that I think was murdered over in the Central West End. She did not die in the mansion. She died, probably a good 15, 20 miles away, but in the city of St. Louis back in 1920. William Jr. died in the mansion, 1922, of gunshot. Here's a picture of Charles Lemp, 1949. He was the last one to commit suicide, live.
That's the dog killer.
Yes, that's the dog killer. Sorry. Okay, the mansion built in 1868 and sold to the Lemps from the Fikerts, which would have been Julia's father, in 1876. It's what it looked like at Billy's funeral in 1922. Look at those old cars, isn't that cool?
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah, love it. This is kind of what the place looks like now. There's a few trees that are no longer there. Like the big tree here is gone.
Now, how big is the place? I mean, I'm looking at this, but it's hard to tell on a picture. How many square feet?
Looks like it's as big as the museum.
What?
The museum that we were in Arkansas?
I keep thinking there's three floors. You got the main floor, second and third, plus you've got a full basement underneath it.
But don't you have that little tower one too? Yeah,
that's part of the same floor, but that's all part of the building. But yes, there are some rooms in there as well, and up on the top of this building too, towards the see those little windows right here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the windows of the Lewis and the Frederick room up on the third floor. So they're in the floorboards.
So three floors in a basement.
Yep. And I'd say I keep thinking the number 30 some odd rooms. total.
Wow.
There's actually 7 rooms upstairs, but one of them is now used for meetings. But what they do is in the one room, it's a double suite, and they put an extra bed in there for us. So when we do have overnights there, they usually have, in essence, 6 rooms, 6 beds. So it's a good sized place. The picture on the left is the lavender suite. That's where William Lemp Sr. committed suicide. Right around that table is where he committed suicide. His wife Julia also died in the building, but she died of cancer in 1906. So right across the hall from this one here. So they both died within a couple of years of each other. Here's the picture of the office where Billy Lemp committed suicide, 1922. Charles Lemp room. It's kind of if you go up the front steps and straight back all the way to the small banquet room, that was his bedroom back in 1949. And this is where the gunshot I heard, whether I was dreaming or not. So some of the evidence we've actually found, and hey, I got a picture of an orb. I said we couldn't do that, but that's the only orb I've ever captured there, and that was 13 years ago, the first time I ever spent the night there.
Now, was that captured like after a question was asked of a specific spirit, or
Nope.
was it just something? Did you
Nope.
you take pictures afterwards and before, and was there anything on them?
I spent the night there, and I walked in and I took a picture of the room, and this showed up. I knew nothing about ghost hunting. Well, very little. I had only done it one time, and that was a few months before that, up in Pennsylvania, which we can't talk about, right? But that's where I kind of really got into the investigating part, was up in Pennsylvania when I worked there. But yeah, so I just took this picture, and that showed up, which I thought was pretty cool. That's the room I'm talking about, the Lewis room where Zeke hangs out. That's his room. We've seen him. We've not seen him, but we've seen shadow figures in there. Things have moved in there while we were in that particular room. He likes to play with the doors. This is the door to a side attic, I'll call it. To the left of that is a closet door, and there's a twin room. If you come backwards from the way this picture is and go to the right, there's sliding doors that go into a mirrored room next to it, and that's the Frederick room. I came up there one time before a tour, and I had to unlock all the doors and get the lights set and everything. Make sure it was, the air conditioners were cooling it down for the summertime or whatever. And I'm standing there, and I noticed one of the closet doors was open. I'm like, well, this is stupid. So I walked over and closed it. And I go to that sliding door in between the rooms, and I noticed this door was unlocked or open now. Went over, closed it. I come back to the center again, looking at both rooms. I'm like, what are you doing? All of a sudden, both doors pop open. I'm like, you know what? You can leave them open. I don't really care. So I've got to go down and unlock the rest of the rooms before, the guests get here in like 30 minutes or so. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it was just so crazy. But I think that was Zeke up there playing, and really sweet kid too. He really helps people who are afraid. I've had a couple of instances that we're investigating, and all of a sudden, they get spooked out about something. And so I came back up here, and I said, okay, go to bed. I'm going back downstairs. I'm not coming back up. I said, it's midnight. I'm not coming back up till probably 5 o'clock or so. And I didn't. Next thing I know is I find out later on that the person who was in the room was just shaking, hysterically, just shaking. And
wow.
she felt this little hand playing with her hair.
Oh, awesome.
And calmed her down. So that was pretty awesome. So that's that room. Now it's stuck. Where's it going? the room down the hall from there is the Elsa room, and we're doing investigation. And if you see the lady right there, right here, she's holding a camera or something. But there's a reflection in the mirror over here. I'm not holding anything, and this person has the hand upside down holding something. I have no idea where it came from. So really, really kind of odd. First night I was ever there, spent the night, took a picture of this room about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's pitch black, flash camera, and spark. I captured a spark jumping out of an unlit candle. There's a reflection of it. This back here is just it's an exit sign in the room behind, so that's really nothing. But that is something. I've actually been in there a couple times, and we're talking to people, and all of a sudden, one of these chairs, these are wooden ones. They had metal ones when it happened, but a little loop on it, and all of a sudden, it started rocking back and forth.
Oh, wow.
By itself, and nobody was even near it. So that was
Nice.
kind of cool. That was really cool in that room. Same night, the orb, this picture, and the one you just saw all happened my very first night there. I thought it was a car going by, but as you can see, spark is on the inside of the room. So energy streak. Sandman, we have no idea who he is or what it is. It just popped up in one of our photos. It's crazy looking. We have no idea.
I was trying to see if there were some shoulders on that, but there's nothing on.
Some people do see eyes and faces and a nose, but it's a Sandman. I have no idea. I see no features. So
I see a chin and a mouth.
Kind of like right here.
Yep.
Yeah, you can kind of see it, but you could stare at it for a long while and come up with all sorts of different things. It's like, I have no idea, but it's a cool picture. This one, same room, same night. A friend of mine also took this picture, and that Sandman would have been right here in front of the table, not too much before this picture was taken. 2 things in the picture, well, 3. First, you see me. That's half of me. This person here was a real person. She had white hair, basically a really, really whitish blonde hair. So blonde it was white. We have no idea what she was carrying here because she wasn't carrying anything in that hand. Oh. This little thing here was a piece of pie in a styrofoam and chocolate cream, Adrian. but it looks like a platter. And the outfit she was wearing was not like this at all. This looks like a worker's
maid's outfit.
An old maid and a bonnet. She wasn't wearing a bonnet. And plus this picture, this person is like squatted down or pushed down in, like a lot shorter than the real person. So we have no idea. So this image, this woman superimposed, I guess, the spirit superimposed over the woman that was with us. And then we've got a shadow figure over here up against the wall. So I'm going to show you a close-up of that. There's the shadow figure, which is just incredible.
Sounds like he's leaning against the wall with his arm.
It does, yeah.
That's exactly what we said too. It's kind of like just watching and seeing what we're up to.
Like a cowboy pose,
Yeah, exactly. And kind of just like, what are we up to? What are we doing?
Why are you in my house?
Exactly. One of our guests on one of the tours we took, or I was giving many years ago with another group, took this photo. The bathroom was empty, but when they looked at the picture, this man was standing in there. The bathroom was totally empty. This is the woman's bathroom, first floor. And when I zoomed in, it arthritic fingers, clothes don't fit, arthritic fingers here, and some kind of a contusion, I think you call it, Adrian, there's a big brown spot over here. We think that's maybe Charles Lemp showed up in the bath in this bathroom. This was his bathroom before he committed suicide, and I believe that he shot himself in the head on the right temple. So this is the right side right here. So we really do think that might have been Charles Lemp came back to visit us. This one was weird, giving a talk down in the basement, and with all these people. There's a whole big group of people down there. I was taking a picture with the lunch crowd. People from Southeast Missouri State, they came up, and a couple of friends of mine and I were giving talks, and I just took a picture of the crowd. And when I looked at the picture several hours later, going through my photos from the day, this guy right here shows up in the picture. The gray, I call him the gray man in the mirror. I have no idea. And he's actually in the room back here, but nobody sees him. He's invisible. Here's a close-up. Look who he's looking at. He's looking right at me.
Wow.
It's like, you caught me. I said, no, you let me catch you. And here's the guy. Here he is back here too. He's behind the guy in the yellow hat. But if you look, there's a
That
stairwell
is
there.
creepy.
It's a stairwell right there. You can see other images of people behind him coming down the stairs.
Have you ever seen
So-
a blueprint of the place?
An actual blueprint? No. That'd be kind of interesting to find out. Matter
Yeah.
of fact, we'll hold that question for Rebecca, because
Okay.
she had access to a lot of historical information about the family, about the mansion itself, a lot of old pictures and photos, and that I
What
would
is-
love to be able to see someday.
What's up with this man's face? It looks stretched.
Which one? Oh, this
The-
one.
Yeah.
That's a reflection of the man.
Oh my
Here,
goodness.
here, I'll show you. That's this guy right here.
Oh,
That's just the reflection,
wow.
and it's
Okay.
it's
It
the
really
angle I
looks
took the picture.
stretched, like it's.
Yeah, it does. And he also looks plastic too, doesn't
Yep. It looks like he's plastic, like it
He
was a
does.
face. I thought it was like a mask at first because of the way the hair, you see the way the hair is like stretched out and where his ear is
Mhm.
located compared to his head.
he? Yep.
And then you look at
So-
him in the regular picture and he doesn't look like that.
So those are some of the pictures. I mean, I have lots and lots of different things, and I even have audio that I didn't have time to pull that together tonight. We can do that another time in the future. But you know, I've had a lot of stories. I learned that they really do like music to be played. So a lot of times that hours, like I was saying, between 2 and 6 a.m., I started playing German music from that time frame. And one night I was trying to find Bach, and I just couldn't find anything, on YouTube or whatever, just a short Bach tune. And so I was playing Beethoven and all sorts of other things, and they're like, yeah. I said, you like that kind of music? Yeah, okay. I mean, that was their inflections and all that through the spirit box. And I'm scrolling through on my phone trying to find something, and I see something called it was German techno. I says, hey guys, how about if I play some German techno for you? A male voice very, very loudly over the radio said no. And I'm like, I was only kidding.
Shouldn't
And
it have
then-
been 9?
And the next song was
wait.
something from Bach. And when I listened to the recording later on, they were telling me they wanted to hear Bach, but I couldn't understand it over the radio, the SB7. So they had been telling me Bach the whole time. And finally, after I did play Bach, I said, what'd you think about that one? It was more clear. Bach.
Wow.
We've heard dogs barking there. I've seen shadow figures. I've seen 3 guys that actually surrounded me one night, and on one of the ghost tours that were actually there. And I'm standing there, and I can't see anybody in the room. They can't see me because there's these 3 shadow figures around me. That was the first time I'd ever seen them. 2 shadow dogs come walking in the room. We've captured dogs barking. We've captured cats meowing. We've actually seen the ghost cat one time. The guy who saw it scared the bejeebers out of us because it was dark and it was really quiet. We had one of the machines going, and all of a sudden he's like 6'4", 5", something. He jumps up and goes, "There's the cat!" Of course, we all had a heart attack, and we happened to look out, and I could see the back half of the cat as it was walking by. There are no cats in the mansion.
So we have
Um,
a home here in Fort Smith called the Clayton House, and it has a ghost cat. I mean, this house has got a ghost cat, but it really what made it interesting is we were setting up to do an investigation, and we were all sitting there, just turned the lights off, so we're waiting for our eyes to adjust, and right as we're getting ready to get up and move, because our eyes have adjusted, a ghost cat just ran straight through the room. There were no animals in the house, but it ran right in between all of us investigators. And
oh, that's
still to this
awesome.
day, we're all like, "That's really hilarious." Because we're like, yeah, because one of the investigators it ran straight at. So,
Oh, that's awesome. We actually have it. We captured a photo of the ghost cat at the Lent Mansion. It's so cool. It's a black cat sitting up on one of the fireplace mantles, and you can pretty much see right through it. It's got little white gloves, or I guess what you call it, socks.
Cool.
Socks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Ugh.
But some people have asked me in the past, have you ever seen ghost animals?
yes,
I have. I've seen shadow dogs. I've seen shadow cats. I've actually seen horses at a Civil War
I've seen a
site.
horse, but I don't think it was a ghost.
Well, this was a ghost, because it was a ghost with a soldier on it, running from one tree to the next, and it was almost like it came out of a tree, ran across the field, and then disappeared on another tree, the other side of the field. It's like, what's the deal here? But we've actually seen horses. I've heard whinnies. I've heard meows, barking. I also will tell you that at the Fox Theater, which someday we'll talk about that one too, here in St. Louis, did an investigation there, and I heard ghost elephants, and I guess maybe a lion or so, because they used to have the
Ghost elephants.
Ghost elephants and a ghost lion. I heard them, roar and whatever, trumpet. And the horrible thing is I could also smell them. That was bad. So that would have been a bathroom one. But no, actually, because the circus
I've got so many things I want to say.
I can hear most of them. But yeah, I mean, they used to have
I've heard ghost elephants too, and then smelled them.
The circus used to be there. So
okay.
when I was growing up, and so it was amazing, and that's a whole nother thing.
Can people sign up to stay at the Limp Mansion or go to the Limp Mansion? And if so, where can they go?
It is a bed and breakfast, so anybody can go and stay there. I believe it's just, I don't know if it's lemp.com, or just Google Lemp Mansion, and there's a link on there that you can go to and make a reservation to stay there. And bring your toys.
And they have events there.
Occasionally, yes, occasionally do. I know the last event that I know about, because I went to it, was with the Booth Brothers. I think it was last June, or
it was
June or August. I think it was June.
Not this past June, the June before that.
Exactly. 21st.
Yep.
Or 2021. Yeah. So that was a blast that night. And we had some incredible experiences, including I believe it might have been Elsa Lemp chatting with me in the one room, and there's about 5 or 6 of us in there. And oh my gosh, I don't know if it's Philip or his brother, I forget which one. They were in the Christopher. Yeah, I think he was in there, and Philip was in there also with us. And I'm playing with the dowsing rods, and the dowsing rods, we heard a woman's voice, and I'm saying, I wonder if that's Elsa. And dowsing rods all of a sudden went all the way around and touched my neck on each side. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting a ghost hug. I said, thank you, Elsa. That's really sweet. And out of the radio, we all heard, I love you.
Aww.
And I'm like, that was so amazing. But my name is said on the radio a lot. They know who I am, which is really kind of cool. They'll acknowledge that I'm there, and it's a really really cool place. I guess because I've been there so often. Adrian, it's kind of like your
Your hospital.
your hospital. They
that we
probably
can't
know,
speak about.
right? That we'll never talk about again.
I'm sure we'll talk about a lot.
I
Oh,
always,
I know.
I
I know,
always
but
end up talking about the place because I've been there so many times. I can't help it.
Oh,
yeah,
me
and I
too.
understand. I've been there once and I loved it. It was
Oh,
great.
it's amazing. You'll get something
Yep.
every time you go. Every
Yeah.
time I've
Yeah.
gotten something.
But Adrian, do they recognize you when you
Yeah.
go?
Well, I've only got confirmation twice, but I've only had my name said, and it's very specific. Adrian is it's not like a common name, right? Not saying
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. It's one of those
And
things. And I've only had it.
it's
I've only had it happen once, and that was actually in Spiro, Oklahoma, at this place
okay.
called Spiro Flowers, and it's no longer there. It burned down. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I was pretty excited because I got something. They actually
Mhm.
said my name.
They said your name. It's a 3-syllable word too.
I mean, rough.
Seriously, yeah. So yeah, but
The
Actually,
hospital knows me.
in Oklahoma, Adrian's only 2 syllables. It's Adrian.
Adrian.
Okay, got it.
Adrian.
See, I am learning so much from this show.
When I go, they know I got a nickname at the hospital. It's Freak.
Break.
Like, do you know who I am? Freak. All right,
Did-
yeah, you remember
Thank
me.
you.
Didn't they actually say that when I was with
They
you guys?
did. They
I
did.
think more than once.
They
I
did.
do remember that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I'm the freak at the hospital.
Hey,
That's
means they love you.
okay. I mean, back in the day, what woman looks like I do?
Yeah.
the lavender lady.
Well,
Okay,
it,
so now, like I said,
but-
when they
But yeah, they can stay there. I'm sorry, they can
right.
just. Okay, I think that's where we were.
So Limp Mansion, their events, you can check them out online. You can like Ken said, you can Google them. Do they have like a Facebook?
I think they do.
I think they do.
I think they do.
Maybe I should have done a little more research.
well, let
before.
me look.
I think they do.
And
Limp Mansion Restaurant and Inn. Yes, they do.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh, and
so,
the food
I
is
mean,
amazing.
they host their own events, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They do. They have a big Halloween party every
Yeah.
year.
Ooh,
That's
Mardi Gras.
maybe up to like 100 people that show up for this thing. It's amazing music, and it's held outside, usually in the pavilion that's next door, and next in front of the there's a giant gazebo. There's a pavilion, a giant gazebo, and then you got the carriage house right behind it, which is, if the picture you saw of the mansion a while ago that I showed, it'd be to the right of that.
Yeah.
And it is an amazing. But they have that. They have.
Looks like they have a Mardi Gras event coming up.
They have all sorts of events all year round.
Which is the thing and the point of the show. I mean, we always say we're mostly paranormal, and although we're talking mostly about the paranormal stuff, there's stuff there that's just interesting to go to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just for fun and games, and to learn more about history, especially if you're in and around anywhere in St. Louis area. You can go there. It's always good to just take a tour of places like that and find out about stuff, because like I said, beyond, I mean, I can go back far back as Coors, but I don't know any further than that. So it's pretty interesting to hear about things like that. So it's cool.
They also have, I think I don't know if it's monthly or weekly. They have a troupe that comes through, and I forget what they, like a murder mystery type things, and comedy,
Ooh.
and it's like typically a Friday, I think Friday night. But they offer those kind of shows too. They have, as you say, they have a lot of events year round.
It's
an awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know. Go ahead.
I was saying the people that work there and run it, they are fabulous people. So they are just really out there to help you. And
are we talking?
The food is great.
Are they fabulous? Are they fabulous?
Fantabulous.
Fabulous.
I use that word
Oh
too.
my
Yeah.
goodness.
Fantabulous.
Boo.
Booless.
I love it.
Terrible.
I love it. So yeah, it's a great place. And down the street, or actually across the highway, I may have mentioned it earlier, Anheuser-Busch.
Mhm.
That's the St. Louis. That used to be the world headquarters. It kind of is still, but now, of course, they're owned by InBev. But you can take tours over there too. And that's just across the highway. As a matter of fact, at one point, that address was 13th Street. It's on 13th Street. 13th Street went straight across before the highway was built back in the 50s, 1950s. And 13th Street goes right in front of the mansion, and it ends at the Lemp Brewery. So they were about a mile apart.
Wow.
They could actually, see each other, and they were really good friends. William Lemp Sr. and I think it was Augustus Busch. They actually even together they were they were working on setting up the World's Fair in St. Louis.
Wow.
I'm afraid you're going to say Zima.
No.
Okay.
But William Lemp Sr. never got to see it because he, committed suicide before it started.
Well, thank you for such an uplifting,
Yes.
happy show.
It was an awesome
Yeah.
show.
Fun,
Uplifting, happy show.
I know. Fun suicides.
Fun suicide.
Wow.
I'm like, oh my God.
Well, we have gone over.
I had
Yes, we
to bring
have.
comedy, but
Oh yeah, definitely.
but yeah, it's a cool place, and there's so many more stories I could tell, but I won't tonight because, as you just said, I can't believe it's like almost
Yeah.
8:15.
Yeah.
That's what I say. We've gone over, and we're going to be revisiting this subject in the future when we can have.
Oh yeah.
What's your name again?
My name Ken.
No, her.
No, Rebecca Pittman.
Rebecca Pittman.
Yeah,
So-
Rebecca Pittman.
So yeah, and I'm sure we can dive a little deeper into this. I'm interested in it, and yeah, I'm going to look forward to one day, hopefully this year, checking the place out.
I want to say something real quick before we get off here because we got some comedians over on the Twitch channel. We have Fluffy Bubble 420 saying, "I'll show the ghosty my boobies for some ghost speeds." And then we have Lee's Artist saying, "Everyone knows hungry ghost wants oranges."
Oranges?
Oranges.
Oh,
So does Adrian.
I have a thing about oranges. I have oranges all the time. I love oranges. Anyhow. So
anyhow,
is our friend from
Scotland.
Scotland?
He is watching, but he's like back and forth. He's not at his computer because he has his kiddos. So
well, hey,
and
bud.
it's early morning there. It's like 5-6 o'clock in the morning there.
That
or
makes
4
sense.
6 o'clock. But yep.
So as we wrap up tonight, we're going to be talking next week about what's the O state again?
Ohio.
Oregon.
Oh,
We're gonna talk about
Oregon.
Sasquatches.
Oklahoma.
So what are we talking?
We're going to be talking with the Geeks crew.
We're going to be talking with the Geeks people?
We're going to be talking with my Geeksters.
Right on. That'll be great.
About some of our experiences here in Oklahoma.
It'll be awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Me too.
Forward to
Excited. And then after that, it's Pam. With the K's. But yeah, next week is Valentine's Day. So maybe we might have, I don't know, some chocolates or something on here. We'll see.
Yeah. Bring your sweeties
if
you guys.
If I must.
Bring your sweeties and both of you watch the show.
Yes, both of y'all watch the show.
Or all of you.
You
whatever.
both you all watch your shows on individual tablets, so it looks like we have a bigger
That's funny.
audience.
Yes, that sounds great.
It's all about the metric and press like all the content creators say. Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe. And if you haven't followed us on Twitch, go to the Twitch channel and follow us there. And subscribe. It'll help us out later on down the road. Give you more information and more things. So yeah,
That's right. And you never know what you're going to hear about
There
on
you
this.
go.
We could talk about all kinds of things, even.
exactly. Even more.
Bye, everyone.
Suicide. Yeah.
Bye.
Until then,
Bye,
bye
guys.
y'all.
Thanks. Bye.
And